Welcome back, everybody, to another part of Kinkoi, Golden Loveriche. I am Seren Prince, as always, joined with...
Men of Stage. And together we are Bridge Boys Broadcasting. Welcome, and thank you for tuning back in.
And your host definitely did not forget what number part we're on. Let's just keep going.
I was about to say, we stopped that a while ago. We are so far into, I hope, into the common route that the number is irrelevant. But in the last episode, it was dark. The power was still out.
And I'm not sure we have it back, so let's find out.
We will. Well then, the first of our 3 days off passed. And the power had been restored to Grayskull.
I did not think it would actually have been by now.
I wasn't expecting it either. But I'm not complaining. I guess it was only relevant to the plot long enough for the Maria Bishop show to get
Sylvie to bond over Maria Bishop.
Well, that, but I was also thinking for it to be like, why is it that Maria Bishop couldn't make the concert? And also, where have I heard that voice before? Spoilers? Probably? Situational irony and all that jazz.
I mean, there is a character whose name, yeah.
And it totally didn't take me like 20 minutes to piece that together. Even later than any of us expected.
Damn it.
No, that sounds about right. Wait, what?
Yep. Okay.
Oh, they got us. I was fooled.
This is where I'd put the power we got back, if we had any.
Hold on to your butts.
Were we a little too optimistic?
Since yesterday, everyone's anxiety levels were at the "this is just a random day without power" stage. But it was looking like we couldn't make it past the hill for yet another day. Now we're in the Mr. Arnold has been eaten by velociraptors stage.
Hey, I'm still convinced that he's fine. It just got his arm. He's just waiting on that island somewhere.
The power being restored was, of course, way further down on the list. We had now become full-fledged survivors. Dramatic?
Will this get in the way of official duties?
いえ、3連休の公務は調整しました。ただ。もう帰りたくない。庶民の暮らしも良いものですわ。
Oh, and here I thought she was just gonna go 100% Radical Edward or something like that, running around saying random things with a corgi that she got from somewhere.
すごい勢いでこの寮に馴染み出しています。
My condolences.
It seemed likely she would be staying over more in the future. That's how we set up for her route.
でも、停電は困ったわね。この子も完全に動けなくなっています。ボディーガードなのに充電ができないと脆いですわね。
How was it in Reina's room?
雑魚寝というのでしたか？悪くありませんでしたわ。
Are you sure it wasn't peasant enough?
ご命令されたとはいえ、人生で王族の方と枕を並べる機会が来ようとは。布団はいいけど、枕がいまいちだったわね。私の部屋枕1個しかないから、着てるもの丸めて使ったからね。だからちょっと肩が張ってる。でも楽しかったわ。みんなでお布団に入った後も夜遅くまでおしゃべりして。言うほど遅くなかったよ。11時くらい。聞いてよ、オーロ。シルビーって10時過ぎると急にくっそ眠そうになんの。で
I think it's good to be healthy personally.
眠くないとは言うんだけどね。もう全身ボリボリかいて必死で起きようとしてんの。ボリボリなんて書いてないわ。
Is this a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
書いてたかしら。もうあのあたりの記憶がない。王族は常に節制ある生活をするものですの。ああ、神にゃんも眠そうだったね。時々白目向いて。
Her eyes rolled back?
Is she a predator? She's like a shark.
おだまり！こほん。妃殿、そのくらいで。
Shark bait, ooh ha ha.
眠たさついでに王女様たちのあれあれなぎなぎなトークも聞いちゃったーん。ちょっと何を聞き出したんですの。
You know, I'm curious too.
実はね、キサキ殿。
Falcon punch. Show me your moves.
はーい。まったく、あんなこと公開できるわけがない。つまりエルも聞いたのね。まあ、成り行きで。何を言いましたの、私たち。別におかしなことは言ってございませんわよね。はい。
It sounded like a fun girls-only night. It was all well and good that they were so close, but...
2日目となると困ることが出てきましたね。
Elasan surveyed the foyer. Foyer? I never say foyer. What the fuck? Elasan surveyed the foyer.
ねえ、マストで飽きてきたんだけど、いつになったら出れるの？
The loon's back.
知りませんわよ。
Sylvie's group were pretty much the only energetic ones left among us. Everyone else was an imposter and sus AF. I mean, depressed. Not only were they tired, but their moods had taken a turn for the worse. There were also far fewer people out in the foyer. Everyone
it doesn't
was...
sound like it.
Yeah, really. Everyone was holing up in their rooms, but they were projecting as though they were out in the foyer.
Man.
新しい環境に移った人間は一度はこうなりますが、望まずにはるかに不便な環境とあっては、やはり精神的な疲労が強すぎるようです。
Phenomenal cosmic power.
Itty bitty living space.
After all, our fun 3-day weekend suddenly turned into a survival experience.
Everyone was irritable, but they couldn't pin it on any one person. Gloom swirled throughout the dormitory.
電気がない。娯楽のなさも問題ですが、何より飢えと寒さですね。今日も寒いよね。
The rain had stopped, but it had been quite frigid since earlier that morning. Worse yet, it was still mostly cloudy. There wasn't much hope of the temperature going up. I don't know. It looks pretty clear out that window in the background, but I guess we'll just suspend disbelief for this. Those who walked out in the foyer were still doing better. Most had confined themselves to their rooms and were huddled up under their covers. This was a cheap expression, but everyone was suffering. The temperaments of anyone isolated in their rooms would likely continue to decline. It would be best if they came out of their rooms, even if we had to force them, but...
何か温かいものが食べられるといいんだけど、もうお湯すら確保するのが難しいですものね。
How much food do we have left?
もう残っている子は少ないでしょう。今夜からはカロリーベースの話が必要になってくる。
There may have still been those with a stockpile, but I didn't want to bring that to light. Starting tonight, would these girls be staving off hunger with nothing but soft drinks and licking sugar? That's an interesting way to put it, but okay. A situation I hope to have avoided. I went outside.
シルビーたちは寒いの大丈夫な？これくらいなら全然平気よ。むしろ日本は暑すぎると思っていたので、ちょうどいいくらいですわ。北欧でも特に北にあるソルティレージュなら、この時期は常に寒波に覆われていますからね。
They say people in Finland go short-sleeved until it hits negative 100 Celsius. Is that what your people are like?
What?
スウェーデン警察にいる私の知人など、これくらいの寒さなら半袖で過ごしているくらいです。
People from Nordic countries were incredible.
日本人はダメですわ。寒い。慣れって大切ね。
As far as Japan went, even the northern tip of Hokkaido probably experienced a mild heat wave now and again.
On the other hand, then, how about Japanese summers?
その話はいい。
It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
夏はもういい。夏という言葉、二度と聞きたくありません。
Right.
All three instantly looked sick.
夏に比べたらこのくらいの寒さ天国よ。だって暑いと逃げ場がないもの。
Sounds like this past summer was pretty hard on you.
何かしら理由をつけて、もう留学はやめ国に帰ろうと756回思ったわ。
That's very specific.
Yeah, that's
住まいにした
actually a
別邸
number.
にプールがあるのが救いでしたわね。そうね。一日中プールで遊んでギリギリ日本に残る気力を振り絞ったわ。エルには悪いことをしたわね。いえ。一緒に入らなかったの？入れません。私は護衛として常に監視を怠れません。常に臨戦態勢としてフルプレートアーマーを着込み、プールサイドでお二人を見張っておりました。地獄だ。務めですから。
This woman would truly be astounding if she were anywhere but peaceful Japan.
Yeah, that aspect certainly might make the cold preferable. If there was any way to avoid the cold, that would be...
1、2、3、4。
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving your body was plenty.
あかねちん、何してんの？あ、レイナ先輩、おはようございます。
Speed! It was a first year in the dorm, Akane-chan. She stood out due to her booming voice.
朝のラジオ体操ができなかったので、体を動かしたくてうずうずしちゃって。先輩たちも一緒にやりませんか？あったまりますよ。
She was as spirited as ever.
いいわね。面白そうだわ。ところで、ラジオ体操って何？興味深いですわね。
A portion of the group was fully into the idea.
I'm gonna check out some other stuff, then I'll be back. You guys have fun dancing around.
え？
I escaped. Now then. Keeping an eye out when there was no power restoration in sight was a waste of time. What was more important at the moment was this. If my calculations were correct, this should be far more useful right now. Then again, it was currently a day off. Not even teachers were at the school today since the road was blocked off, so it was completely deserted. I had no way to get inside, but... Okay. I smashed the window. With Sylvie's royal powers on my side, they should forgive me for a single window, similar to the incident from last week. The power outage also meant no alarm sounded. I got inside with ease, and now he's gonna just change all of his grades.
Oh, I thought he was just gonna grab everything valuable.
You know what? That actually probably makes more sense considering the fact that the grades are probably on a computer.
Yeah.
Now then. Oh, but I couldn't get into any of the classrooms without a key either, huh? I wondered where the keys were. The staff room? No, they should have changed where they were stored for security purposes lately. Would I end up smashing a few more windows until I accomplished what I came here to do? What did you come here to do?
Oh, okay. I think I know what he's doing. Maybe?
Uh-oh.
Actually?
オーロはいた？寮にはいませんでした。どこへ行ったのでしょう。道を求めて森に入って迷ったとか？森はどこもかしこも滑りやすくて危険だと昨日見ているのでないと思いますが。みんな大変！どうしたの？ほら、昨日もらったコンビーフの缶。食料が貴重になるかもって今日のために残しといたでしょ？あれがないの。オーロのやつ独り占めして逃げたよ。ん？あらあら。
Wait, really?
武士はクワネド高楊枝などという日本の格言は迷信だったようですわね。
Pretty sure Ouro is nowhere close to a samurai.
Nope.
もともと市松殿のカップ麺で得た対価だ。彼がどうしようと何も言えないが。一言くらい言ってほしかったわね。コンビーフ食べたことなかったのに。それでその卑しい豚はどこに？エル、どうかした？いえ。学園から煙が。
He just lit the whole school on fire for warmth. Coughing.
Oh, open air fires are harsher than I thought.
Guess he's never been to a bonfire.
オーロ？何をやっているの？
Oh, you're here already?
I was planning to call them over when it was done.
これは大きな鍋ですね。この前行ったラーメン屋に置いてあったわ。
Yeah.
A so-called stock pot. I was in the process of putting it over a flame, just like the restaurant, and boiling the soup down.
I figured a school like Noble Academy that cultivates elites of many disciplines would have a kitchen for rearing elite chefs too. When I went looking, I found this.
And I only had to break into 17 rooms to find it.
Incidentally, you're gonna have several windows to pay for.
探った？
But miraculously, it was all unlocked.
The gas was shut off, so I couldn't use the burners, but I borrowed some bricks along the edge of the flower beds adorning the academy and made use of an improvised stove, which I was currently heating over a flame.
But tougher to work with than it looks.
If the fire got too hot, you couldn't get close, and if it cooled down too much, it got smoky. It was difficult to obtain the perfect balance.
変わりましょう。行軍経験があるので焚き火くらいはできます。
Of course you do.
Yeah. That would be a big help.
I didn't want to make a bonfire, I wanted to cook. That's what I needed to focus on.
何似てるん？あ、コンビーフ。
Yep. Oh, I used the cans without asking. That's okay, I assume.
It looked pretty scarce using a huge pot just for 5 cans of food, though. Whether or not you could see the meat made a pretty big difference on your mood. In addition to utensils, I got salt, miso, and soy sauce from the kitchen. I also got my hands on lard and dried sardines. Ew. I tossed
You don't like sardines?
I do not, too many bones.
Oh, okay.
I tossed in a fair amount and used them for the soup.
こっちのこれは何？白くてねちゃねちゃして。
Soupy seed.
Udon balls.
Ah,
I also found flour to use for these in the kitchen.
おうどんが食べられるの？
That's what I was shooting for, but I probably put too much water and screwed it up.
I wasn't exactly a competent cook.
So I was considering making them into flour dumplings instead.
Flour dumplings, balls of wheat flour kneaded with water, then boiled. It was an optimal outcome for a failed udon.
For some reason.
水豚って何？食べたことないわ。楽しみ。
For some reason, when it was like flour dumplings, and then definition, I just thought of like the Pokedex.
I was started thinking about that too, probably the way I read it.
Yeah, it was.
A Jigglypuff is seen from above. Judging by Sylvie's reaction, it'd probably be okay.
何を作りたいかは大体わかりましたわ。で、問題は献立よりむしろこの大きさ。
Miana-chan peered into the pot.
この大きさには馴染みがございませんけど、ざっと100人分ってとこだね。
Yep, more or less.
That must have tipped them off to my plans right away. Starting with Sylvie, everyone began to giggle.
別に多少みんなでひもじい思いをするくらいで、飢えて危険とか栄養がどうのという話ではありませんわよ。
I get that we're not in too dire a straits. But it really is draining when you're cold and hungry. So I thought something to reassure everyone would help.
オーロのそういうところ、私大好きよ。うどん？でなくて水筒ですか？味は保証できないけど、いっぱいあるのは保証するよ。
So, Sylvie, could you tell everyone that you made it and hand it out without me?
どうして？配るのはいいけど、オーロが始めたんじゃない。
But listen.
Things could get awkward if I advertised my involvement, so I'd rather detach myself from the situation while I still could. Sylvie hadn't caught on to that predicament, though. How to handle this?
はいはい、団体さんいらっしゃい。あ、ほんとだ。炊き出しみたいですね。いい匂い。
With that thought in mind, the girls they retrieved from the foyer came running. I figured it would take a while after calling the boarders over for them to show up, but word had apparently spread after calling over just a handful. The first wave came quickly. The point being, they all saw me. Worst of all, they were from my class, Jokasaki's sympathizers. I guess it makes sense they'd be from the same class, given Reina's connections. This spelled trouble.
みんなお昼ご飯を作ったの。全員の分あるのよ。いっぱい食べて。ありがたいけど、作ったのって。
Really? Really? Okay.
オーロが作ってくれたの。味見したけど、とっても美味しいのよ。よね。
Okay. The three of them looked at me with indescribable expressions. Not good. The same ambience from the classroom had reared its head in an awful moment. If put in the worst terms possible, you could describe what I was doing as hustling them with kindness. Their hatred of me was out of their own pride, so it would be difficult for them to accept me now. With that said, I doubted they could refuse with Sylvie standing there all smiles either. They were stuck, unable to accept or decline. Given the situation, they would likely ultimately do as Sylvie told them and eat, awkward setting and all. I had made this plan to alleviate their meal-related stress, but now I was going to stress them out. Up until today, I desperately tried to stray outside of my designated clique as much as possible in an effort to avoid this awkward atmosphere. A setting where anyone, especially such a large group, was worried about me. I felt like a tumor here, and I hated it.
He's not the tumor.
I hadn't wanted to show off. I hadn't been trying to live through a golden time. I hadn't been trying to shine. I just...
Ah!
All of a sudden, there was a hysterical scream from behind me.
何ですかこれ何ですかこれお鍋ですか
How do you keep sneaking up on us?
Really? Because it's not like you're sneaky.
ちょっと、あかね危ないですね
Oh my god.
Akane-chan? Huh?
This girl shouldn't have any animosity against me.
すごいです先輩こんなことできちゃうんですね
I guess so.
I probably should have stepped out a long time ago, but that ship had long since sailed.
器を持ってきましたこの学園の調理室大したものですね100人分の食器が楽にありました100人分このお鍋の大きさこれって寮のみんなの分があるんですかどうぞお上がりなさいさすがに200杯分はないのでおかわりは大相談ですがおいしそうどうぞ食べて食べてオーロが作ったのとってもおいしいのよ
She mentioned my name again. With the exception of Akane-chan, all of the other residents were backing off. I only hoped this didn't take a turn for the worse.
ありがとうございます先輩いただきます
They just throw him into the stew and then just yeet it off of the cliff.
No, they throw him in the stew and then they eat it.
Eat the commoner. However, that assumption was transformed into needless worry in an instant. Akane-chan served herself without a care and took a bite. It was a soup with stock made from dried sardines, corned beef, and lots of lard. I put in 200 flour dumplings so each person could have 2. Perhaps you could call it Japanese-style Chinese flavor? To be blunt, it was the kind of shabby soup you'd expect them to put out at some cheap ramen restaurant. I used a bunch of tricks like thickening it up with starch, but its biggest selling point was this. It's warm.
おいしいっしょはいおいしいですそやな味付けですが及第点ですわ限られた食材で大したものです
Warm stock works wonders, and you can make anything taste good with salt.
Ouro's the next Iron Chef. It really wasn't all that impressive. This was just the result of brainstorming how to leverage the limited cards I was dealt to their fullest potential. Okay, so apparently he's a really good chef in an improvisational situation, but he's still dense AF.
That's possible. That's really possible.
He's an idiot savant.
Yeah. Well, he's also good at baseball, too, actually.
You know what? You're right. Okay. He is a man of many skills. Common sense is not one of them.
He's a man of many skills. 2.
ところであなたオーロのお友達
Another delicate question Akane-chan was having a hard time answering too, so I lended her a hand.
Yeah, she's a nice person and has been friendly to me since I transferred here.
そうなのね。それなら私ともお友達だわ。そんなお姫様と友達だなんて。いいじゃない。気軽にお話ししてほしいわ。どうしましょう。
As long as it's okay with you, why not?
ダメなわけないです。私なんかでよければ、ぜひよろしくお願いします。
Considering her love of calisthenics and other things, I think that's the only kind of friend she can be.
よろしくね。茜です。私、栗生茜って言います。
You're my friend. Who are you again?
茜。素敵な名前だわ。そうでしょうか。改めてよろしくね、茜。こちらこそです。
She was grateful as could be. That made sense after hearing a princess say, "Let's be friends," out of nowhere.
Here, eat before it gets cold.
I butted in and offered her the soup.
はい。
Though it had only been one day's time, she was able to get a bite of warm food. That mere warmth was enough to...
美味しいです、先輩。本当に。
She just starts crying with reckless abandon.
I think that's gonna happen. Huh?
おお、あかねちん、なんで泣くの？
Called it.
Soup wasn't that bad.
It's so good, it's making my eyes water. Though she had
It's
been...
gonna make me tear bend.
Though she had been eating with a smile, droplets suddenly began to spill from the corner of Akane-chan's eyes. It was so unexpected, it startled me. I could hardly believe someone as ordinarily cheerful as Akane-chan would break down crying.
いや、わかりません。でも、なんか、美味しくて、体中にじわって広がって、いろんな気持ちが突然溢れてきちゃって。
Akane-chan kept on shedding beads of tears. This made me go stiff. In what sense?
Yeah,
She had been so tense ever since yesterday. After she wasn't able to do radio calisthenics in an attempt to distract herself, this soup must have been what broke the tension for her. I knew that. It made sense, but why was it enough for her to cry? Whatever the reason, it bothered me that I got a girl to cry. It must have been the same for her. She always acted foolishly cheerful, and yet...
本当にいいの。本当に何でもないから。ありがとう、オールくん。すごく嬉しい。嬉しい。だから。
Even more dots.
自分でもよくわからないんですけど、急に涙が溢れてきちゃって。なんででしょうね。すごく美味しくて、美味しいから。先輩が 私たちのために作ってくれたのが、びっくりして、嬉しくて。私たち、先輩のことを疑ってたのに。
Castration!
疑う？
I ruined the moment.
まあ、いろいろね。オーロは悪くないんだけどさ、難しいことがあったんだよ。
Yeah, and the complications look a lot like Ayaka.
いろんな気持ちがぐちゃぐちゃになって。ごめんなさい。私。
It's good she's not here, though, because that would have been really interesting.
It's okay. So, calm down and eat.
I pet her head. Good dog.
Flour dumplings are a lot like mochi, so if you sniffle while you eat, it'll get stuck in your throat.
Ooh, that threat is real.
はい。すいません。
I'm not worried about it. It only makes sense that you'd be uneasy. That goes for everyone in the dorm. I'm sure you felt helpless and you force yourself to stay active. And that helplessness was enough to make you cry.
Akane-chan wasn't the only one who had been forcing herself. Everyone had their own anxieties. Which was why...
You did a good job. It was admirable. It's difficult to act like your usual self because you're in this kind of situation. I believe your upbeat nature helped to support everyone, like with the radio calisthenics from before. This might be strange of me to say, but having you be your usual cheery self was a huge lifesaver. Thanks, Akane-chan. Eat slowly and be careful you don't choke. I'll keep doing this until you settle down. Yoshi.
I pet her head until the heavy teardrops stopped. It wasn't as if I wanted to show off. But this was one of those moments where I had to act cool.
Ah, 私もいただこうかな。まあ、マストでお腹空いてるから。うん。いいね、いいね。どうぞどうぞ。水豚は一人二つね。うん。じゃあ、私も。はいはい、2名様ご案内。メゴチンは食べるわよ。
But I don't like it. After spending all of my time with the first years, things were worked out with the problematic 3 off behind us. And after that...
私らの分もあるの？温かいスープです。シルビア様の手料理？食べますわ。鍋の底まで舐め尽くしますわ。
One boarder after another came along. We had 100 people gathered, and the question of who made it had been deemed irrelevant. あったかい、おいしい。
大したものです。
And everyone was enjoying their first warm meal in a day.
すごいわ、オーロ。
I didn't do anything impressive.
In a group of 100, this was an idea 50 or so people could come up with. Then again, I doubted any of these high-class ladies would have the drive to break the academy windows. The commoners simply stepped in their place.
そうね。大したことはしてない。誰かの笑顔のために動くことは大したことではないけど、それを迷わずできるのがオーロのすごいところよ。
I didn't really get what she meant. Simply having Sylvie smile wide like she always did made it feel meaningful, yet not. As such, I wasn't able to ask her for any clarification.
あら。晴れましたね。うん。
The clouds dispersed.
Metaphorically, but also literally.
The sunshine from the south wrapped warmly around us.
これで少しは暖かくなるでしょう。
Alright, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode of Kinkoi Golden Loveriche. I think we turned a corner and the dorm is going to like us or at least be cool with us existing outside of house arrest. So...
Yeah. I imagine that's going to be the case, but we'll see if that holds up once Jokisaki is back in the picture.
Oh, I'm looking forward to when she comes back and sees everybody cool with Ouro and is just sitting there like, the fuck?
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, oh, I'm looking forward to that. So, if you want to see that as much as I do, tune in next time. As always, we are the Bridge Boys, signing out.